What's up, everybody? It's Keefy from Ghost Cult Magazine, ghostcultmag.com, and I'm here with the guys from 1349. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back to New York City. We're here at sold out Saint Vitus Bar in Brooklyn, New York for the big show. Great tour. 1349, Cloak, other bands. Super pumped about the brand new album. First and foremost, want to talk about that. The Infernal Pathway. Many meanings. And the album is incredible and really feels, I'm not sure it's exactly a concept album, but it feels like it's got the weight like a concept album to me.
Well, we never set out to make any concept albums. Well, it just doesn't feel right to follow any concepts when you're in the trade of chaos. But it was our bass player when he came into the studio after I recorded all the vocals, and he read through the lyrics, and he said, like, there's one word that comes to my mind here, and that is the abyss. And that kind of became the whole concept for the album, so to speak, right. And the common denominator for the whole thing. And so maybe we made something subconsciously of a concept, but it never anything intentional, and that's how the band basically works. You know, it's a spirit that guides us and takes us on this path.
Nice.
And now it's the infernal path.
They're walking the infernal path, exactly. Anything to add to that?
Not particularly. I think it's summed up quite right.
Well said. I think it's really interesting. The band has had, 20 plus years of the band, I think 20 years since the first demos. And the band has had, a tremendous arc and output. And for a long time, very prolific. And there was a break, and now this new album. And except for the last track, the record is pretty unrelenting the whole way through. And you've had experimental records and moody records, but this record is really severe in the best possible way for this genre. And obviously, I think maybe it just came out that way, but it's very pointed and heavy.
Well, there's no break, at least. Like you mentioned, there's not supposed to be a break in our catalog anyway. I mean, the fact that we released the 3 first albums as fast as they came was because we were in advance with the first album. That was recorded 2 years before it was released. So, naturally, then the consequence of that was that the second album would come with such high frequency as they did, and hellfire following, and then kind of it was empty of your portfolio, if you will, and we worked again. So that the following albums came in the order they did. Now we've just taken a lot more time with both Massive Cauldron of Chaos and this one, because it felt right. It felt, this band is all about quality, not quantity. So if that's what it takes, then that's what it is. Has to be like that, because we have to be satisfied ourselves first.
Right. Ultimately, you make records for you.
Yeah, and also it takes more and more time touring, because demands come from different parts of the world, and you get to travel more as well, and then the whole touring cycle takes more time for every album as well. And then you also get older, so then a little break in between before you start a new cycle, because you need to forget how much work it is and how relentless it is to put out an album, and the amount of work also gains for every album. If you're so lucky that we are to gain momentum for every album as well, the band grows bigger for every album, the job gets bigger for every album as well. So it's an ongoing, never-ending circle.
It never ends.
You actually have to distance yourself from what you do, the modes that you were in. It's a good thing to just stay away from it for a little bit, to have a different perspective on where you were at and where you're heading. So.
Right. Plus, you have to live life a little bit in between albums. You have to have experiences to channel into new music. It can't always be the same.
Well, this is very much, to a big extent, is our life. So, it goes in connection with that, deep connection with that.
Right. And again, the album is masterfully done, and I really love the production. I think, a lot is made of black metal records and production. And 1349 has never been strictly only black metal. There's a lot of other stuff that you guys are influenced that come into the music. But I really love the production. It's very dry, but it's really tight and mixed beautifully. And I can't say that about all modern records, but it seems like you guys put a lot of time and effort into production and mixing.
Well, it was our front of house engineer here in the US for many years, Jared Pritchard, that we brought into the studio with us for the second time. First time was on the Massive Cauldron of Chaos, and he obviously knows the band very well, so that also is something that speeds up the process. But it's needless to say that the guy is a genius when it comes to technology, and he basically can do anything that we ask him. Of course, if we had been smart, we would just listen to him. But we also want to put our own effort into it and make our own touch of it. So, but he makes it sound just the way we want it, and that makes also our job easier to have him there, because he knows how well we can perform. So in the recording situation, he will push you just the right amount, and he knows when he got what he needs and the best out of us. So it's also a comforting situation in that way. It's just a really huge benefit for us to work with him, and it's been a second album now, and it's just got better from Massive. So
nice. You guys are evenly matched.
You say so?
I think so. Well done. And I think also, having seen the band live in the past, that for the sake of comparison, a lot of bands sound immense on a record, and then they come live and they can't, or the reverse. And I think 1349 has been one of those consistent bands that is always the same, like very similar live to the studio. The album is presented a certain way, and then I fully expect to hear it the same way tonight. That's been the case in the past. I think it's a credit to you. A lot of bands don't put the attention onto, just in general, again, just like the album has to be mixed correctly, live is important for the audience and the band. Any thoughts about live sound work? It's hard when you're touring far away and you don't have your necessarily first choice of people always, but excited to hear the band live tonight and hear these songs, these new songs and old.
Well, tonight we have Jared Pritchard with us, so he is our first choice as a front of house engineer, and him living here in the US makes our job easier. We make life harder for him, obviously, but I mean, it's we are just Norwegians coming here, so
we know each other very well. I mean, he has been with us since 2008, so it's been over a decade where he's known the band in the live setting as well as now in the studio repeatedly. He gets to know us, and he knows us on the personal level, obviously, and we get along a lot. And he just ties all the knots together in a really positive way. And also he understands the art the way it's supposed to be perceived, because he's a very competent musician, as well as the production thing that he has brought into 1349. But he has the whole overall picture that helps us to achieve what we do now.
Yeah, he's also a musician himself, as he said, and he will also play some shows with us, actually, with his band Polka Morte. So like 4 shows he will do with us on this tour as well. So
we should come back and interview him. I think so. And I think much like a band member and a person of your crew that you spent a long time with, you have to really trust them and know them. You're spending a lot of time with them, almost like family, right? You're stuck together. You can't get rid of each other. So I think it's very important and very lucky to have that kind of relationship.
It is. That's basically how you maintain sanity on the road, you know. Otherwise, it would just be frustrations. Makes us focus totally on the job at hand and give a best possible performance to the audience every night, you know. And that's what we want to do.
Great. As we wind down toward the end, I definitely want to ask a couple more questions. You guys have been great. Obviously, you tour the world all the time, and you can't, again, far from home. What pieces of gear would you say are like indispensable that you have to have with you, or just if it's not gear, something personal that you need every day to be able to successfully, get through a tour?
Well, since I'm the vocalist, I just need my microphone. But if I can get some Jägermeister in me, that's always helpful. Kind of grease me up in a way. But when it comes to gear, you can talk more serious to this dude.
Yeah, one thing's gear. I mean, what I would need is I have a guitar that I'm carrying with me, and I've played for quite some years now. It's built by an English luthier called Dylan Humphreys. He's running Demoness guitars. I also had some guitars from American company Saint Vitus that I've used, and I have some endorsement deals that provides picks from Dunlop and strings from Stay in Tune strings in the States. And of course, all these things, they are, if not a crucial factor, they are helping a lot. I mean, if you have to do what you have to do, make it with what you have, But so I suppose you could play any guitar, but that's the comfort aspect of it. Then of course you need your own equipment, which is what I mentioned earlier now. And when he brings us over to beverages, then I'll definitely say craft beers, which I'm a hunter for, always actually.
You're in Brooklyn and New York City in general. We have a lot of awesome breweries and craft brews in this neighborhood, even not too far from here. So
that's it. I'm out.
That's it. See you later. And he just needs the black shit. Jägermeister is on tap here at Saint Vitus. Shout out. And maybe Jägermeister used to sponsor a lot of bands and tours. Maybe we can get them to sponsor the next 1349 tour. Although maybe that's not the best idea, but I'm going to take credit for it in advance. Wondering about international travel. You guys, all the European bands have had issues. We're no stranger to it here in the U.S. with our difficult visa system. How has the international travel been for you guys? Obviously, there's been some bumps.
But I have to say that after you have a change of administration, the visa process for us have never been quicker.
Okay.
And but it's always weird when you deliver all the papers. It's obviously it's a massive amount of papers, and it costs costs us more than $3,000 just to get the visas. And then, so basically, when you deliver it, we use a visa agent, and they say like, when you submit the papers, it's basically like throwing them up in the air because you don't know, you can never know what happens.
It's really funny.
Maybe it's been lucky. So,
maybe it's not Norway. Maybe Norway has it worked out with the U.S. and other countries. We're getting other bands, griping and complaining a little bit that they're having trouble.
No, we always got the visas, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So I think it's only one time that we had come late into our tour due to visa, but at the same time it was also the volcano rupture. So
Iceland.
Either or, but no, we've been very lucky.
The entire world was impacted by that Icelandic volcano, right? That was insane. Yeah. All flights around the world were like a weird Venn diagram of chaos, but chaos is our life. This is what the road is. This is what music is. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. As we wind this down, you guys are in the thick of this tour. As you mentioned, you have a lot of stuff you're excited about the future. What is down the road that you can talk about for 2020?
Well, we're going to do a European tour together with Abbat and Wildmas, and that's the first thing that's on the line in 2020. So it starts in January and goes into February. So
who knows? We might be back on this turf a little bit. See?
Nice. Well, we'd love to have you back. I'm excited about the show tonight. Again, the Infernal Pathway is the new record from 1349, out now on Season of Miss Records. I am Keefy from GhostCultMag.com. If you like interviews like this with 1349 and Ghost Cult, like and subscribe on our channel. Thanks a bunch. We're out.